Hi everyone and welcome to the Mental Facet. My goal with this show is to inform, inspire, and provide tips for your mind that it helps you go after the life that you want. And what best way to do it? Well, I've got guests that provide practicality to the advice that they give through this conversation. My guest today is a serial entrepreneur. In 2015, when the world saw a global market crisis, he saw opportunity. This man is the master of environmental mastery. He's a philanthropist, a speaker, a real estate man. This gentleman has so much knowledge and stories that I can't wait for you to hear. My guest, the man himself, Prash.
Mark,
Welcome to the Mental Facet.
thank you for having me. And that's a rock star introduction, my friend. I love it.
That's who you are.
Bless.
And I appreciate you.
Bless. Thank you.
But I want to jump into 2015. Global market crisis.
Yep.
We all have problems. We lost money. Things were happening.
Yes.
You saw an opportunity.
I'll start with where I came from, Mark. I think I just got out of university then. I was a fresh graduate. And what had happened was that I was looking for a job, right? I wanted to keep afloat. And I got this automotive insurance job that I was door knocking in Rockingham. So it started up at 11 in the morning, and we would go into the office and they would train us up to meet these people at the door. And it was such a different environment for me. I came from international business. I was hoping to be able to connect Perth to my hometown of Malaysia. Unfortunately, at that time, as you mentioned, due to the current market in WA, there was very little jobs available. So I thought, I'll take this door knocking job and see where it led me, right? So there I was, in Rockingham, 11 a.m. Till 7 p.m. at night. And all I had to do was to knock on the door and tell someone, hey, I've got this awesome little coupon here. If you want to buy this from me, it'll save you some labor costs. All you had to pay was for the part of your car service, right? But obviously, I wasn't selling it the way I am now, man. Back then, it was my first time. It was my first job, Mark. So there I was door knocking, and I didn't sell anything by the end of the day, right? 7 p.m. I'll never forget that day because at 3:30, 4 o'clock, I came past this house that had 3 or 4 cars. And I told myself, damn, if I could get the 4 cars, that would be great. Met the lady, she said, listen, my husband's a real estate agent. He's not home yet, so I can't do anything for you. Walked away sad. On my way back, I passed by the house again. Remember what she said. So I came in, I knocked on the door again, and this time the husband answered. And I told myself at that point.
I'm going to stop you.
Sure.
So you went past first.
Yes.
And then you spoke to the lady.
That's right. And she said she can't buy from me because the decision maker wasn't at home.
Wasn't home.
So
And
I came
then that
back.
didn't deter you. On your way back, you
right.
went back to the same.
See, I saw the house and that same opportunity, right? That I told myself, hey, why not give it another try? I had nothing to lose because I hadn't sold anything that day. So I told myself, if I can just walk in and try one more time, why not? Right? So gentleman answered the door. And I told myself, let's just give him the same pitch that I had 11 a.m. that morning that I was trading for. So I did. And he looked at me and he said, son, come on in, I'll buy 3.
Wow.
I'll never forget that, Mark. Because I walked in and as I was signing him up, he asked, Prash, are you interested in real estate? I said, sir, I don't know shit, but I'll give it a shot if there's an opportunity. So he said, well, there's a friend of mine that's started up a new business and we would love to look for new people. Door knocking is one of the first things that you get trained in. It's a traditional method in real estate is to meet belly to belly. You meet the owners, you say hello. And he said, if you're already doing this at the front door, if this was how you do it today, then you'll do great.
So take me. So this day, you saw this opportunity,
Yes.
but I think your mind drove you to say, you know what, I'm not going to give up. Let me just go back to this man. And this is. Do I switch to 26? Because what I know, a year later, you started
Yes.
your own business.
I did, yes.
How does your mind work in
Yes.
this difficult situation?
So I'll share with you the extension of what happened. When I got into real estate at the start, I started up in admin and legalities. And for me, the main goal was to learn the structure of the business before I got into sales. So I did that for a year, understood the ins and outs of the real estate industry, learned the legalities. And when I moved out into sales, I was looking for something a lot more open. So the company that I was with at that time was very much geared towards the 1% 100% agents. I was looking for a franchise training to understand it a lot better before I could serve my clients in selling their largest asset, Mark. So came 2016. I got into Harcourts at that time, Harcourts Integrity, wonderful office in Maylands, great franchise. And they said in order for you to stand out, you needed to be your own media corporation. Gary Vaynerchuk was very popular in his time in saying that if you want to stand out in the world of social media, especially in an industry where it's so saturated like real estate, one thing you got to do is to create a media corporation. Hence my first business, the Real Estate Times Media. So I created a Real Estate Times, which is now the Real Estate Times TV that we connect on social media. So yes, sir. Yeah. So we had a good team of videographers and photographers that got together and basically said, listen, I want to pass on the media from the industry. So we met peers, fellow real estate agents. We had interviews with local cafes, and we basically just said, this is what's happening in the media here today. Thankfully, it got warmer with my clients because instead of cold touches, I would send them my links to my YouTube channel. Now with over 60 videos in 5 years, so I'm glad. I'm slowly but surely, Mark. But yes, it was very good for me because that's what they would see as this is not just a cold meeting. I've seen him on video. I've seen him talking to the local people in the area. Now I think I can engage him to sell my property. So that was my first.
And you know the way. And I'll say, so I'm trying to switch on to 2 days, right? I want to look at the guy who was from uni, is door knocking. You go this and you meet John, you say?
Oh, yes, so John was from Harcourt, but the gentleman that I met was a different company at that time. Yes.
So you meet this man, then you walk away from this and he gives you an opportunity. There's real estate. And you get into real estate.
Yes.
You then collaborate.
That's right.
You meet with other people.
Yes.
Is this a strong point for business when you want to start business?
Yes.
Is it a good thing to collaborate? Because I've seen a lot of people that want to jump in on their own, but would you advise that it's better to collaborate than just going on their own?
Yes. I think in 2010, there's two brothers called the Tapscott brothers. They wrote a fantastic book called Wikinomics, and it's all about how mass collaboration changes the way of business. With the advent of the internet, obviously we are a lot more closer with our fellow brothers and sisters across the world, right? I think if we take that same perspective and we apply that into our local area, while the 1% strives on competition, which I respect, I think in our current time there's been a lot of unhealthy competition that seeps its way through businesses. That in turn creates stress. In order for us to avoid that and focus on the end clients, which is who we care about at the end of the day, everything we do is for the end clients, right? They in turn serve us and reward us. So if we can focus on working with our peers to pass on that result from the industry, rather from a singular business, I think we can create a hell of a lot more success.
Right. So in that, which I respect, and you've spoken about unhealthy competition, which is bad for anyone in business because if you've got bad mental health, your business is going to go further.
Yes.
But in times like this, where there is unhealthy competition, and yes, there is collaboration, people are willing to collaborate, how do you stay on top in an industry like that?
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
So I think my second business, which was REXY, we created a collaborative platform because our goal is to be able to reward everyone the same. It boils down to the fact that who is going to earn more from this transaction, right? I think that's the unfortunate thinking that we've had. And I don't see that as a bad thing because at the end of the day, everyone's fighting for their own cause. Everyone has their own reasons why they're in business. But if you can induce the fact that collaboration actually gives you more business because there's enough room for everyone and opportunities out there for all of us together, that's how I've put myself into my own self-belief that it will earn me that much more in the future.
There you go.
It's playing the long game.
Yes. Oh, it is a long game.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because I've got this fear, and I look at it, I look at my practice,
Yes.
It's different. But then you see people, and I'll go back to what you said with unhealthy competition. The most you see when someone comes in, their stress is coming from they're competing with people on social media, they're competing with people they've never met.
Yes.
And this causes a lot of stress, like I said, to a point where someone actually thinks themselves into sickness. And then now you're coming in and saying, no, but hang on, good business, let's have a customer-focused strategy
Yes.
where we all gonna end in the middle.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
does patience play a good part in this?
It truly does. And it's being able to focus in your lane. That's one thing that I always realize. In I'm sure the same as therapy, as you just mentioned, in our industry of real estate, it's so common for us to look at the next agent and see what they are doing and attempt to emulate what they are already creating in their space. When all of us are different individuals, and as you've mentioned, if we have that patience, Mark, if we have that idea that he can succeed, she can succeed, so can I, then we will all come out of this victors.
I do understand, and I think that gets me exciting because I look at you, and then my question becomes, what is your mental first facet
Yes.
for success?
Yeah, well, number one would be constantly learning, right? I think resilience comes into play. Because as I mentioned with the first story of the door knocking, I could have easily just walked past that door, but thankfully at that time, and I don't know how I did it, to be very honest with you, now after years of being able to be constantly resilient, I've taught myself to imbue that in me. But on that day, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in real estate today.
Yes.
It's a small step in my mind, to just walk to the door again and knock on the door.
Get it going.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think that the beauty of your mental facet, and I look at it, and what gets me excited, and I've called you the master of environmental mastery. Because if you look at the six-factor model, the mental facet, it's more of how you see opportunity.
Yes.
And which I believe most of us, we're getting away from the idea of opportunity, because what makes opportunity clear, which you have done, this practicality of you knocking to a door, you have to look at life differently.
That's right.
You have a different lens.
Yes.
But understanding with that respect, there's enough stars for the sky.
That's right.
Everyone can shine.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want, right? Talk to me to AI, how you create it, because this is real estate.
Yes.
So with the REXY, how then do you guys
Sure.
conceptualize
Sure.
real estate market?
So the real estate industry is a 100-year-old industry, right? It started for a very long time and it built upon tradition, which I fully respect. However, like the advent of the internet, right now we're moving forward towards the age of machine learning and blockchain. Emerging technologies is taking over the customer journey, and our goal at all times is to ease the customer journey. The company, the agency that allows for better customer journeys in the end succeeds the most. I truly believe that. So what we did with REXY was that we focused on the buyer journey. As agents, our goal is to serve the sellers. We are representing sellers in their largest asset to the marketplace. And we need to maximize exposure. That's our goal. In order to achieve the highest price possible for your property, we need to maximize exposure. We employ multiple marketing strategies to do that. That includes photography or videography, home opens on the weekend, a 28-day auction campaign, and I added one more. I added a home open for real estate agents.
Wow.
So what we did was pre-market, before we opened the market to the buyers, I called every agent in the area and I said, come on down to the first home open, have a look at this home, tell me what you think. Right? These are all my competitors. And I said, tell me what you think about the price, and are you dealing with any buyers who trust you in your area, who could possibly come to my open this weekend and buy from me, but because they already trust you, I was hoping that you could then pass them my way. And if they like this home, then we will match them to this property with an offer, and if they're successful, then I'll pay you a share of my commission.
You've got a very interesting way of doing business. With the way we believe we have to compete for everything.
Yes.
You are inviting your competition
That's right.
to your business.
That's right. And they use the platform that we've created where they can put in their buyer details, which is only sacred to them, what the buyer is looking for, the actual number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the suburbs, and the actual price range that they're looking at. That goes into the system. The system then matches it to any other properties that we have.
Yes.
That's where the machine learning comes in, because I want this to be seamless in the future. But like how Google started in 2000, 21 years later, the system is still learning.
Yes.
Machine learning is exactly like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak for myself. Let's say I become a first home buyer.
Yes.
Or I want to sell my home.
Yes.
Because nowadays you see people, we speak about, oh, I want to invest, so I'm going to invest in property.
Mm-hmm.
Can REXY AI help
Yes.
me with?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. And all it needs is for you to reach out to your local agent and to ask them if they're using REXY. Simple as that. Most agents actually do have their own buyer management team that's highly focused on how they actually create and find the properties that are not on their portfolios. Whereas what we do is we pass you access to that platform. Now, if you're a buyer, the whole idea of the platform is that it gives access to your local agent representative. So as a buyer, you don't have access to it directly,
Yes.
but you use your trusted advisor and they find it on your behalf through the platform. Selling your home is the same thing. Because you're dealing with REXY agents, you actually have the advantage of having an added pre-marketing strategy. So that gives you higher exposure and potentially a higher price.
Awesome. Man, I'm loving it. But with this market, if I look at the real estate market,
Yes.
what problems are we facing
Yeah.
today in the market that you feel maybe in 10 years' time they're going to be so different?
Yeah, I think we've just covered that earlier with the competition.
Yeah, with the competition.
Yeah, so I think highly that's one of the biggest things is the fact that competition is so strive that instead of us looking at the end clients, almost every other agent that comes into the market is looking on how they can better or one up the next person. I think in 10 years that's going to be obsolete because of the advent of these emerging technologies that we've just mentioned. That's going to not only add value to the buyers and sellers, but that may in turn, like most technologies do, like the Industrial Revolution did, that's in turn going to reduce the amount of workload that we have. So our goal is to constantly increase value. I believe that, truly. So if we can look at collaboration as a solution, then we're already increasing value. Because then it's not just me against you, Mark. In 10 years' time, it's going to be you and me for the benefit of our clients.
And this brings me to how I met you.
Yes.
I met you on a philanthropy exercise.
We did.
As I see you put so much value on the customer.
Yes.
You put so much value on someone who needs help. You're always putting your hand up to say, I want to help.
Yes.
I just need you just to dive into deep.
Sure,
Really explain
sure.
to me
Why?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I wake up every day. One of my main reasons is twofold, right? John C. Maxwell, he's fantastic with leadership. He once said that him waking up is that he believes in two things: to constantly learn and to constantly be sharing knowledge. I live my life on that legacy. Because without the knowledge that I've learned, vice versa, learning from you when I've met, every day when I'm meeting people, I'm just constantly taking as much as I can. And in opportunities like this, where we can share, I do that open-heartedly because I've been learning for a very long time, and I hope that till the day that I get into the coffin,
Yes.
I will still be learning. So that's the mental facet that I have too.
Beautiful. I love it. As an immigrant, you came here and you worked your way.
Yes, sir.
Now you're a businessman. If there's a kid sitting at home and
Yes.
thinking, one day I go overseas, what is the mental blockage? Because if I look at it, we almost have this mental blockage that I come in and just work very hard, earn money.
Yes.
But you took more steps further.
Yes.
Do you want to take me through that guy from
Sure.
Malaysia who comes to Australia and then he becomes a
Sure. All right. So I'll start off from when I first came over here. I had a really good friend of mine that was studying business, right? So I've known him since I was 11 years old. So that sort of eased the culture shock, as they would say, for me, right? So coming into that, I think when I got out of business, of my degree, all I wanted to do was to meet people. I wanted to get to know as many people as I can and find out where they were coming from, because that in turn propelled me forward. So if there is a kid watching this today and wondering how they can do that when they go overseas, I think the first thing to do is to overcome your fear. Fear is always going to be there, right? It's about how we channel it. So if we can channel it well moving forward, that becomes confidence. Because
when I look at the 6-factor theory of the mental capacity, you've just touched on connections,
Yes.
and understanding and talking to people and to do what we do.
Yes.
It's collaboration. Why, because you've emphasized that so much value
Yes.
in collaboration, and so and now you're talking about meeting people, relationships with people. Why is that you feel is so important,
Yeah.
especially this day and age, where everyone just thinks competition is the best way?
I think if we imbue that as a principle from day one
Yes.
into not only our businesses but into our lives, then everyone will be happier than they can believe. Because that is what I think is missing in our current world. It's the fact that we're so connected, Mark, and yet that has caused isolation. What more in the current world of COVID, where most people, majority of the world, is literally living in isolation? If we can actually say that that collab, as much as it's being used here as the golden word of 2018, 2019, but it's such an important principle that most people forget. Because, as you mentioned earlier, they're always focused on the competition. How can I be better? I think the only competition is yourself.
There you go. And that takes it out of my mouth because that's the next question.
Yes.
But in regards to with what I've asked you, and half of it I've never asked you, but
Sorry.
do you think there's a question that I missed? I just wanted to ask you that you feel probably the viewers will have a takeaway from.
Sure. I think it's one thing that I would have loved to hear from you, Mark, is what is my weakness? Where is that my weakness lies? Because I believe, as much as you've been pointing out the strengths and highlighting that, which I fully appreciate, I've got my own weaknesses too, and addressing that, which I don't think many people would want to do that openly, would be one question that I would love for you to ask myself and my guest.
And how would you
Your
answer
guest? I had to put myself there, literally in the spotlight, Mark.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because before you answer, it's
Yes.
and it's not that I just wanted to highlight your successes, because we've seen, we as a people and human being, there's a thing about weaknesses that we feel. If I point out my weaknesses,
Yes.
people take advantage of that.
Yes.
If I point out my weaknesses, that becomes I'm not as strong, because we're all fighting strength. We all want to be strong people. We want to be the best. We want to be a top. And it goes back to competition.
Yes.
Right. So to you,
Sure.
what is your weakness?
All right. Well, I would say would be, in all open honesty, it's my time management. It's been something that I've been struggling since I was a student, and it's something that real estate has truly harnessed for me. Have I reached the pinnacle of it? Absolutely not. I heard Elon Musk does his time splits in 10 minutes, man. I mean, that's impossible. But I'm learning to time block every day. I sit down on a Sunday and I look out at my calendar during the week and I plan my schedules. I color code my calendar just so I feel good when I'm looking at my personal items, and I put time aside for myself. And I think that is my biggest weakness. And I would love to fix that. And you spoke about how a lot of people don't want to share their weaknesses because it denotes their strength. I think the strength lies in vulnerability. And if you're able to be vulnerable, not only with your peers, but also with your clients and everyone that surrounds you, being vulnerable to a certain extent, because not only are you admitting your weakness, you're stating that you're actively working on it, like I just have.
Awesome.
I'm not perfect.
You know what? I love it. And I'm gonna drag you a little bit back.
Sure.
That, it's being vulnerable in this world. I look at social media and how people we go there, we start businesses, and we talk of them like it's so seamless, it's so easy. I just started my own business. I'm earning 6 figures.
Yes.
So just do this.
Yes.
But we never share that vulnerability.
Well said.
Do you think that's a big contributor to a lot of business failing, to a lot of people suffering from mental health issues?
I think so, entirely, because it's that missing 20% that if they had shared with another person, or even with their family, to say the least, that could have been identified early. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and all it takes is that third eye to look at you and tell you that that's exactly what you need. It could have improved not only their future business, opened them up to more opportunities, and also improved their mental capacity.
My friend, I love that. Before you got honest, you spoke about time management. Yes, with the time management, but you have this time where you spend, where you talk to yourself.
Yes.
Why is that really important for you, just to be on your own?
Sure.
Just focus on yourself.
Yeah, because I deal in a people industry. So almost every other day, we're working with at least 5 to 7 people and their backgrounds. And my goal is to advance them in their journey. And if I'm not feeling at ease with myself, if I'm just bringing an issue that I had from the day before or from the meeting before me into that relationship, then I wouldn't be performing at 110%. I'm not paying due respect that I am to that client. So what I do is in the mornings, I plan my day out. I make sure that I know what I'm going to expect out of meetings, and most importantly, Mark, I look at what can go wrong.
Awesome.
And this is just speculating, right? Anything can go wrong. But I believe if I plan for the worst case scenario, first thing in the morning, then I'm able to tackle it when it comes.
So planning is important.
Yes.
Patience is important.
Absolutely.
Talking to yourself is important.
That's right.
Maintaining your mental health is important.
So much so.
My friend, always happy to see you.
Likewise.
Before you go,
Yes.
where can we find you?
Awesome.
On social media?
Sure.
If someone wants to just get in touch, talk to
Yes.
you, where can they find you?
Firstly, anytime, the door's always open. You can find me at the Real Estate Times TV. That's on all social media platforms, or the realestatetimes.com.au. I'm on LinkedIn at Prash Nayar, and hopefully you can put my phone number down. I'm always open.
Everything at the bottom, you
Beautiful.
find this guy. Yes, we'll put links at the bottom so that we can
Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time, my friend.
You're a good man.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have it. This is the mental facet. Our goal, as I said before, is to bring practicality. And today, our guest has shared enough insight on how to start a business and how to follow your path, patience, to become this person in business where you're not competing, but like we said, the words of Prash himself, when you collaborate, there is more in the future. Let's play the long game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in this episode of The Mental Facet. Prash.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you having me.